Yoda stood at the door of his hut, watching the straight streaks of sunlight tear apart the gathered gray of the sky. He turned and looked inside, then back to the sky. It was time. The rains had ended more than half an orbit before. Soon the sun would bear down upon Dagobah, and the uplands would be too hot, even for a small one like himself to bear. Yoda looked upon the only few possessions that he still had. His cane, of course, which really began as a joke to convince young Padawans that he was old and feeble as he would hobble to class, only to watch the students gasp once he showed his abilities in the Force, casting his cane aside and slashing through the air with his lightsaber. Also the blanket on his bed, made from the cloak of his old friend, now one with the Force. All of these years after Qui-Gon Jinn's death, Yoda kept this garment to remember his friend. And finally, on the shelf above his bed, the small pot that was rounded by the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. Yoda thought of his lightsaber, the one that was now lost to him. He imagined putting it into the hands of the young Skywalker as they learned from his training, but not Luke Skywalker. Yoda's mind went to Leia. Leia, the young woman raised on Alderaan, not knowing who she truly was or where she came from. The hut was growing warm as Yoda stashed his few belongings into a sack and set off towards the lowlands. Yoda thought of his young Padawans from long ago, wondering what they would think if they could see the Jedi Master now. He trudged on, feeling the rock and sand beneath his feet grow warmer, until he felt something else, something on the very edge of his reach. He felt the familiar thrum of the Force, felt the calmness, and then felt Obi-Wan. Their exile had been too long and too lonely, but had the two of them remained together, the Empire surely would have found them. Yoda felt loneliness grow, a terrible, angry, despairing loneliness. Anakin, or what had become of him. He was in pain, and the remedy he used to soothe himself was pain, the pain of both others and himself. Yoda brought his hand to the center of his chest. The two vibrations Yoda felt met, and their pulses fought across the back of the Force. The world around him was still active as he heard cries from swamps below, the scurrying of small feet and fluttering of wings. Suddenly, Yoda felt Obi-Wan grow stronger, and then stronger, and then stronger, and then move in a quick burst into the netherworld of the Force. And Yoda felt Anakin fall even more deeply into painful loneliness. A loneliness so terrible, Yoda almost felt pity for him. Obi-Wan was gone from this world, and Yoda felt himself lower to the ground. To him, the galaxy was becoming emptier and emptier. Yoda tried to hold back his own loneliness, hold back a galaxy without Obi-Wan. 5 days later, Yoda's lowland hut was dry and tight. A fire burned brightly in its hearth, and he whispered to himself, "Mourn them do not, miss them do not, rejoice for those who transform into the Force." But he was lonely. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. But Yoda was lonely and old. He missed his old friends now gone. He reached out into the Force, attempting to feel the presence of Qui-Gon, but he could not. "Qui-Gon is occupied, Master Yoda," the familiar voice said. Yoda looked up and saw the shimmering form of Obi-Wan in the doorway. "Never before so quietly have you come into a room, Master Kenobi." Yoda crossed the room and sat down on his bunk. "I am old, Master Kenobi." 900 years is old, Obi-Wan agreed. The two friends conversed for a moment before Obi-Wan gave Yoda the news. "Master, I want you to take on a new Padawan. I want you to train young Skywalker." Yoda felt his heart thrill. He had not imagined it could have happened, but here it was. "Yes," he said, "long have I waited to train her." "Master," Obi-Wan began, "I want you to train Luke." "No," Yoda stamped his cane on the floor. "That is not the one. Not ready is he. A Jedi must have the deepest commitment. That one looks from one cloud to another. Not him, her." The shimmering Obi-Wan sat down on the bunk beside his old master. "I promise you, Master, you will be surprised. The young Skywalker I would train," Yoda stubbornly continued. "She is ready. If I try to teach this rash, impatient boy the ways of the Force and fail, what then?" Obi-Wan smiled. "I seem to remember an old master of mine who liked to say something about trying." Obi-Wan waited, then, in a voice as quiet as a whisper, "Send him to me then," the wise old Jedi finally said. He was now nestled in a small bed, underneath Qui-Gon's cloak. Obi-Wan had gone, and while Yoda didn't expect to get much sleep that night, For the first time in a long time, he was eager for the next date. As always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. May the Force be with you.